Let's talk about sex and the workplace, specifically romantic relationships between peers. Even more specifically, how it can totally screw up your career. After all, this channel is about how to get that promotion and pay raise, and we're not called the Pay Raise Commando for nothing. So let's make it even more specific still and break it down through an angle I haven't heard others speak of, which is how to not let office romance screw up your chances of landing that promotion and or pay raise you so want and deserve. And I stress peers, so no automatic default sexual harassment there, as is the case with any liaison between employees of different ranks, all the more so with direct subordination. That is not the case here, rather a consensual romantic relationship between equally ranked people in the same team or department. So the focus here is on totally falling in love with a coworker, how that can cost you that promotion and pay raise, and how to prevent this from happening. You know, everybody has grown so trepidatious of any interpersonal intimacy between the sexes at work because of the legal and political and social sensibilities and ramifications that such intimacy potentially entails. So much so that we tend to forget it is inevitable. After all, you do spend most of your time at work and you do interact with coworkers more than you do your family and friends. So the fact is, attractions do happen and many people will end up acting on them. But the boss problem that needs busting, get it, is not the falling in love part. That's natural. The problem is the fact that the lovey-dovey couple thinks their affair is their own private business and that it bears no effect whatsoever on everybody, on anyone else in the team or the department, and therefore is none of their business. But nothing could be further from the truth. Each and every one of the team is affected, co-workers and boss alike. Furthermore, the effect is almost always, almost 100% negative. I know some of you will be taken aback by this very unequivocal statement, but this is an accurate account of my experience watching such lovey-doveys for the past 30 odd years. So I've included my experience not only as an organizational consultant of 24 years, watching this unfold from the side, but also my experience as a team member who has had that happen in her team more than once or twice or thrice. There's a second problem, which is the moment anyone tries to confront you lovey-doveys about the negative impact your liaison has on everybody around you, in order to mitigate it for everybody's sake, so coming from a good place, the moment that happens, you start attacking, saying you're just jealous or mean or both. You can't stand somebody's being finally happy, and because you're miserable, you want everybody to be miserable as well. No, that is nonsense. And even if true for this or that coworker, those are not mutually exclusive. You can be both jealous and right. So the fact that your complaining coworker may be jealous doesn't change the fact that he or she is right. There are indeed serious functional problems with falling in love with a coworker within a team. And this video will prove it to you, so stick around. If you're a half of such a lovey-dovey couple, then you need to hear this. Better yet, get your other half to watch this too. It will give you insights and later on solutions as to how you are screwing your chances of landing that promotion and pay raise, which is obviously counterproductive to your goals. And if you are a colleague, a co-worker of such a couple of, or maybe their boss, and you are being shushed by them whenever you're trying to speak out on the subject because you're supposedly jealous, when you're truly not, you're just sick of bearing the negative effects of their affair, If this is you, you're going to love this video because you will be ultra, super, uber vindicated. Plus, I will supply you with all the professional analysis of the situation together with all the necessary arguments you need to help you start changing it. So stick around, it'll be worth your time. Hi, I'm the Boss Problem Buster, founder of the Pay Raise Commando, a veteran organizational consultant of 24 years, having worked across cultures, industries, and ranks, and a social psychologist with a master's and a bachelor's degrees, both with honors. My team and I train passed over corporate professionals like you to get that pay raise and promotion you are overdue for so that you can finally kill your Monday blues and bring your inner joy back, which is the part I like best and the goal of this channel. Kill your Monday blues and bring your inner joy back. Now back to the salt mines. Hey Busters, I'm glad you stayed, and now I'm going to keep my promise to make this worth your time. So if you're having an office affair, the first thing you need to know is that love is blind, work is not. Office romance will, most definitely, 9 out of 10, screw up your chances of landing that promotion and pay raise. Moreover, this outcome would be fair and just. And as Wesley, still guys as the Dread Pirate Roberts said to the Princess Bride, anybody who tells you differently is selling something. Why? Because of the 7 boss problems that I will lay before you now, all undermine team cohesiveness, industrial peace, and interpersonal collegial relationships. So a complete disruption of the team's dynamics, but not in a good way. So not like the euphemism for great innovation, no. This is disruption as in destruction. And for all colleagues and bosses out there who are witnessing an office romance in their team, these 7 problems are the proof I've promised you of how that liaison is making your team dysfunctional and driving you insane. Okay, let's dive right in. Sex and the workplace boss problem number 1 is you're not focused on the job. Look, the sheer essence of falling in love is that it is all-consuming. You constantly think about your sweetheart, you fantasize about them, what you did together yesterday, what you will do today or tomorrow after work, how perfect they are. So you're in a full schmoopy mode. That leaves you with much fewer personal resources to invest in the work itself. This is true for any romance you have in the initial head over heel phase, which is scientifically proven to be akin to a drug-induced trip, because it is a drug. You are a slave to your own raging hormones that create the attraction. But all this is especially the case in an office romance, and it is very easy to see why. Both of you physically intersect with one another numerous times throughout the day, even in the most mundane circumstances, either on the job like meetings or circumstances of your personal day-to-day, like getting up to go to the bathroom and having to pass by half the department on your way out, including your beau, and going out to lunch. So such circumstances, then let alone deliberate stolen moments such as the coffee machine or the copy machine rendezvous. All these increase your temptation to focus on yourselves rather than on the job for which your salary is being paid. And you think that qualifies you for a higher salary and a higher position on the organizational ladder? Surely you see quite the opposite is true. Maybe a cut to your pay and a demotion is more suitable. Plus, you're screwing yourself in yet another way. Think about it. A manager at any level needs to be able to see beyond themselves, to be alert and sensitive to how he or she is being perceived by everybody around them. But you are completely self-centered and self-absorbed. And yeah, of course, you can find many bosses that are like that, but they are bad bosses, and the fact that they exist cannot serve you as an excuse. So it is not merely the essence of your schmoopy mode that is the problem, but mostly the fact that you are completely oblivious to it in terms of how it affects others. That is the problem. Sex and the workplace boss problem number 2. You become a distraction for others. How? Well, you mess up the team dynamics 3 ways. A, with a schmoopy mode, you are annoying beyond belief, both of you, to the point of being unbearable to colleagues and superiors alike. Usually it will be your coworkers to first notice the change in your demeanor for the worse, but eventually your boss will either pick up on it themselves directly or pick up on everybody else's reaction to you, eye rolling, whispering, etc. B, so the second way in which you mess up team dynamics is the grapevine before and after your relationship is official. And this rumor mill is never conducive to a healthy team culture. And C, you are the focal point, but of the wrong kind. Not for some professional acumen, excellence, and achievements, but for your personal life, which any professional should check at the door. So it is not only that your personal life is interfering with your professional life, it is that your personal life is becoming more highlighted than your professional one. And anything that detracts from your professional performance detracts from your chances of landing that promotion and or pay raise you so want. Plus, you're once again screwing yourself in yet another way. Think about it. A manager at any level, even the most junior, certainly mid and top tier one, must be able to create and sustain positive relationships with everybody around him or her. If people would rather avoid you than bear your presence, who will ever make you boss? Sex in the workplace boss problem number 3. You become an imbalance, a counter equalizer. This one is tricky. Listen up. Teams are very sensitive to cliques forming within them, and for a good reason. A clique is always made of separatists, meaning co-workers who separate themselves from the rest of the team for whatever reason. They like one another more than they do the rest of the team. They trust one another more. They feel more comfortable with one another, and they don't mind showing it. Once you have one clique or more in a team, it becomes very hard to come to a consensus, pull in the same direction, trust everyone, etc. That is because instead of having a group of individuals, each with their own strengths and weaknesses that more or less balance each other out, you then have several potentially rivaling subgroups, all pushing in slightly or completely different directions at the same time. This changes the entire dynamics and further undermines the team's cohesiveness, which then makes it a team in name only, when in fact it is disintegrated into fractions. A lovey-dovey couple such as yourselves is such a clique. A clique of 2 is a clique nonetheless, and the effect is every bit as serious, probably even worse, because a romantic clique is by default much more intimate with one another, therefore also by default much more separatists from the rest of the team, which exacerbates the whole disruption to the team dynamics and potential disintegration of the team even further. In the next part of Sex and the Workplace, I will give you very detailed examples of these very problems that screw up your chances of getting that pay raise and promotion. Problems that you, as a lovey-dovey couple, create yourselves and also inflict on your co-workers and boss, which further detracts your chances. So join me then. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and above all, subscribe, or I'm doomed. Now get back to work and stop fantasizing about your schmoopy. You know I can't get you that pay raise or promotion if you don't actually do the job.